In August 2010, Benjamin Ben McDaniel, a recreational cave diver from Memphis, Tennessee, set out for a dive that would change everything. Ben had been diving regularly at Vortex Spring in Florida, a popular spot for both open-water divers and cave exploration. On August 18th, he entered the underwater cave system alone, descending about 58 feet below the spring's surface with his gear. When Ben didn't surface, people initially thought he might have simply ended his dive and forgotten to check out. But his pickup truck remained parked at the dive shop for 2 days, and that raised alarm bells. Staff and friends realized something was seriously wrong. Search efforts began almost immediately. Divers and rescue teams entered the extensive cave system, but they couldn't find any sign of him. No gear, no body, nothing. The passages at Vortex Spring run deep and far beneath the earth, branching into labyrinthine tunnels that are notoriously difficult to navigate, especially alone. Ben's disappearance became one of the most puzzling and haunting cases in cave diving history. Despite extensive searches, his body was never found, and many believe he may still be somewhere deep within the underwater passages.
In 2014, a 31-year-old outdoor enthusiast named Marcus decided to take a solo trip into Echo Rift. The cave system was known for its long, looping tunnels and for the strange echoes that could mislead even experienced explorers. Marcus had visited the cave many times before, and he felt confident. He enjoyed being alone underground since it helped him stay focused, calm, and fully in control. This time, however, he wanted to push just a little deeper into an area he hadn't fully mapped. At first, everything went smoothly. He followed a narrow tunnel that sloped downward, marking his route with chalk, just like he always did. But the deeper he moved, the more unpredictable the cave became. The walls felt damp, the air felt heavier, and eventually, his GPS tracker lost its signal entirely. After reaching a small chamber filled with beautiful rock formations, Marcus decided it was time to head back. But something was wrong. The markings he relied on, the ones he had placed earlier, seemed to be missing or faded. He wasn't sure if the chalk had smudged off, or if he had simply taken the wrong turn without noticing. Marcus tried to stay calm. He listened for dripping water, hoping the sound would guide him toward the exit. But Echo Rift is famous for its echo illusions. Sounds bounce strangely off the walls, making directions sound correct, even when they aren't. Minutes turned into nearly an hour. Marcus began moving in circles without realizing it. When he didn't return home, his family reported him missing the next morning. A rescue team searched for almost 2 full days, before finally locating him in a tight crawl space that actually led deeper into the cave, not out. He was dehydrated, exhausted, and shaken by how quickly things spiraled out of control. Marcus recovered fully, but he never explored Echo Rift again. In 2009, a solo hiker named Leah, who was experienced and confident, decided to explore a cave system in Arizona known as the Sunken Chamber. The entrance looked harmless. Wide, open, and bright. But the deeper sections were a maze of shifting sand, steep slopes, and sudden drop-offs. Leah had navigated rough terrain many times before. Mountains, deserts, riverbeds, nothing had ever caught her off guard. About an hour into her exploration, she reached a bowl-shaped depression in the cave floor. It didn't look dangerous at all. The sand seemed firm, stable, and easy to walk across. But the moment she stepped onto it, the surface shifted, sending her sliding several meters down into the pit. The fall wasn't what put her in danger. It was what happened afterward. Every time Leah tried to climb out, the sand moved beneath her feet, dragging her back toward the center. Alone, with no stable rock to grip, she became stuck. She rationed her water, tried different angles, and even attempted to carve footholds into the sand, but nothing held. Hours passed. The air grew colder, and her headlamp dimmed. 2 hikers eventually noticed her backpack lying outside the cave entrance, untouched for hours. They reported it, and rescuers were sent out. Leah was found nearly 30 hours after she first entered the cave, tired, dehydrated, and extremely weak, but alive. After the incident, she said something that rescuers still repeat today. It wasn't the fall. It was how harmless it looked. That was the scary part. In 2017, a quiet photographer named Eli set out on a solo trip into Blackroot Cave. He wanted long exposure photos of mineral patterns deep inside the rock. He told himself he would stay only in the main chamber, take a few pictures, and head home before dark. Blackroot Cave has one large, safe path, but beyond it lies a network of narrow tunnels that slope downward into older, less stable parts of the cave. After photographing the main area, Eli noticed a thin crack along the wall. A faint draft of air flowed through it. Curious, he squeezed inside, thinking it would be a quick look. The passage opened into a hidden chamber with beautiful mineral patterns untouched by visitors. He stayed there for almost an hour, photographing everything. But when he decided to leave, he faced a problem he didn't expect. The crack he came through didn't look the same from the inside. The shadows made it blend in perfectly with the rock, and every tunnel nearby looked almost identical. Eli tried several passages, but each one led deeper underground, not out. His headlamp battery dropped lower and lower. The air grew damp, heavier, and harder to breathe. A friend reported him missing the next day, simply because Eli always answered his phone, and suddenly wasn't responding at all. Search teams entered Blackroot and eventually found him seated near a wall, his light barely glowing, exhausted and disoriented after wandering for hours. Eli survived, physically unharmed. But emotionally, the experience stayed with him. He later said the scariest part wasn't the darkness. It was realizing how one moment of curiosity, when alone, can turn into a serious and unexpected danger.